So in this video today, we're going to talk about lean maxing, right? How do you stay lean? How do you get lean, right? And the reason I'm making this video is because really, I've honestly been lean pretty much the majority of my life. I've always been a pretty lean guy. And it's really just my habits that I've always had. So I want to basically share it in this video. So I've wrote down pretty much all the points that I could think of as far as my eating habits have been and how my eating habits have evolved. And I put them in this video. This information is in my course, top link in the description. But today in this video, I actually want to talk about it. I won't be able to get all the information in this video, but I just want to give you a synopsis of how to actually be a lean guy, because I'm lean because of how my lifestyle is, just my lifestyle habits and how I consume and what it is that I consume and just how I train. So we're going to get into it in this videos. But if you don't know me, my name is Chike, and I've been a gym rat for roughly 10 years of my life. It's been pretty much a decade of me working out and just staying fit. And as a result, I have a pretty aesthetic body, a really good physique, a great body. I get a lot of compliments on it. And I just want to help you achieve the same result. So if that interests you, go ahead and stay tuned for this video. But I want to get into lean maxing, bro. You trying to get lean. So let me go ahead and stand up for you guys. Trying to get lean. Yes, sir, bro. These are legs that squat 455, 445 for your information. That is my max squat. So, but let's talk about it. So the first thing that I want to talk about is eat clean. So I've always really been a clean eater. Pause. But I've always ate very clean. And how I do that is just by eating whole foods. It's not rocket science. Now in my course, I do have a Notion template. And it does have like a template of pretty much a bunch of foods that have like the macros breakdown and like what it's optimized for. So you have foods that all foods have carbs, proteins, fats, right? And some foods are optimized for protein. So for example, eggs. Eggs is not optimized for protein, it's optimized for fats. There's more fats than protein and carbs in it. Tuna is actually optimized for protein. So I actually break this down. It's in a Notion template. It's in my course, and I'm actually constantly updating it because I have autism. But always pretty much eating clean. And how I do that is just by simply me telling you what not to eat. Not eating fast food and not eating sugar. That's pretty much it. I pretty much only drink water or Celsius, as you can see. Only drinking water, only having just clean foods. That's it. Eating whole foods and prioritizing protein. Eating a lot of protein. So there's something called the recomp diet, and this is something that I've naturally followed without actually even understanding it. I actually just learned about the recomp diet when I started watching one of Jeff Nippard's videos or whatever, like maybe a month ago. But the recomp diet is when you eat in excess of protein, more protein than necessary, so as to compensate for catabolism in the muscles when you're on a cut. So when you cut, you lose weight, but sometimes you also lose lean mass too because you're in a severe caloric deficit. How I've actually eaten is I don't put myself in a caloric deficit. I just eat mostly protein. I'm eating mostly meat. And I would also have protein shakes, and I would consume a fair amount of dairy, low fat dairy, so as to contribute to the amount of protein gains that I have. And the thing is just like if you get an excess of protein, your body will start producing more lean tissue. So the reason why I say eat a lot of protein, the reason why I've been very lean my whole life while being able to consistently build muscle, I probably should have added that on, is because I've consumed so much protein that your body basically can't help but build more lean tissue to build an excess of lean tissue. And like maybe I'll put this disclaimer in the video or not. I am taking a NASM course, so a lot of my information comes from that. I'm not going to cite everything though. I try and be scientifically correct, but feel free to fact check me in this video. I don't really care. But getting an excess of protein, getting a lot of protein is very vital for building lean mass and just staying lean in general. Why? Because protein actually induces satiation. You get satisfied more with protein because protein is just more satiating. You're not going to be as hungry when you're consuming majority protein foods. And secondly, like I said, it optimizes for the production of lean mass. You build more lean tissue. So eat clean. Diet is not rocket science by any means. Just consume a lot of protein. Drink nothing but water and find stuff that you like. Learn to make stuff that you like. Recently, I got a Factor meal subscription and they're good meals. You know, if you can afford it, make eating easier, make getting food easier because cooking and dishes is something that's a challenge for a lot of guys. So find ways to get your meals in and just eat an excess of protein. And with that, step two, train, habitually train. Train as much as you possibly can. Train 3 to 5 days a week. Keep it consistent. Keep it a lifestyle choice. Make it a lifestyle. Something I want to harp on is 2 parts. Resistance training, building muscle. Because even if you're a guy who's trying to lose fat, I always tell you, you need to focus on building muscle. You need to build lean mass. You need to build lean tissue. Why? Because, and I probably should have mentioned this earlier in the video, but you burn fat. If you're a guy who's trying to burn fat and stay lean, you burn fat mostly at rest. It's your resting metabolic rate, your RMR, that dictates how much fat you will burn. The majority of your fat loss is done at rest, not when you're in the gym. So what the fuck does that mean? Well, you need to raise your metabolism. How do you raise your metabolism? By building lean mass. I'm 195 pounds, sitting at 10% body fat. How much lean mass do I have? Take my weight and subtract 20 pounds from it. I have roughly 170 pounds of lean mass. That all contributes to my metabolism. I will not get fat. I will not get fat because I build a lot of lean mass as long as I train. It's the same thing with you. Like, the way to stay lean is by building a lot of muscle. You guys, I don't know. I feel like this is really mostly with females because, like, y'all, with women, y'all ask me, like, maybe y'all flirt, but like, y'all tell me, like, how do you stay so lean? Like, how do you look so toned? I want to get toned. I just want to tone up, but I don't want to get big or anything. It's like you tone up by building muscle. You tone up by having more muscle as opposed to fat. So you need to build as much lean mass as possible by, of course, like getting a lot of protein, optimizing for a lot of protein. The recomp diet and like combining recomp with lean bulk is like the ideal. And then, training hard as shit, training hard as fuck, and just doing resistance training 3 to 5 days a week. Because when you build that lean mass, your resting metabolic rate will increase at rest. You will burn fat naturally. You will just start to naturally burn a lot of fat, and just being active in general. So I'm pretty much like an athlete. I don't think I'm that fast. My hip flexors are pretty weak, but it's just like, because of all this lean mass that I've built up over the years, I'm going to stay lean. I'm just going to stay lean, even though I get stronger. We're going to talk about strength in a minute, but there's a mindset that I want you to adopt when it comes to resistance training, because keyword, done this for years, plural, 10 years. There's this book called The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek, and it talks about learning to play infinite games. So how can I preface this? Basically, how this works. This is the mindset I've always had with fitness, and this is what I constantly try to induce in you on my channel. There are 2 types of games. There's finite games, and then there's infinite games. Finite games are games with a clear objective and goal. Right? Let's say, what's an example of a finite game? Any sort of video game, right? Let's say Pokemon. The goal is you catch Pokemon, you get them strong, you make them strong enough to beat the Elite Four and the champion, and you become the champion. That's it. Like, you beat the game, boom. It's like, it has certain goals, certain strategies. You get from point A to point B. That's it. You beat the game. Done. If you approach fitness in the mindset of a finite game, you'll look at it as, I implement these strategies. That was loud. I implement these strategies. I get the body. Now I have the body. I'm done. Boom. The goal is I get the body. That's it. No, you don't want to approach it like that. You want to approach it in the aspect of an infinite game. An infinite game is a game that you play for the sake of keeping the game going and continuing the game, right? Not to beat your opposition. Finite games are focused on beating the opposition or completing the goal. Infinite games, you're focusing on continuing the game. So, for example, this is a hard example to do. It's like the game of tag. You don't really complete the game. You don't complete the game of tag, right? Like the game of tag. You say, tag, you're it. And you tag the other person so that the other person can chase you. And then once that person chases you down and catches you, now you're it. So you have to keep playing. That game just kind of keeps repeating itself. That's the same way with fitness. Like, you have to play the game of fitness in a way and approach fitness in a way to keep fitness going. You have to find ways to like, don't think of fitness as a way to improve your body. Like, it sounds retarded, but you don't want to think of fitness as a way to improve your body. You want to approach the gym in a way that's like, yo, what's gonna keep me here? Like, what's gonna keep me hitting this resistance training? For me, it's training strength, because I get a dopamine hit. I get addicted to the fact that like I can push more weight. I can do more weight in a certain movement. So with my DB presses, I do more weight, and it keeps me coming to the gym. That's why like all these trainers, they'll tell you, oh, do hypertrophy, or this and that. And that shit may be optimal. It may work, but bro, if you don't want to be there for no 18 reps, don't do that. Like, don't do it for no 18 reps. Keep it to 5, keep it to 8, and then keep it pushing and increase your weight. All right? Makes sense. And that's how you want to approach fitness. You want to approach it with the infinite game mindset. I recommend getting this book on audiobook, or just getting the paperback copy. I'm not really that far into it at all, but just out of that realization, it made me realize how people should approach fitness, because you want to treat it like it's an infinite game. You want to make it so as to you will stay there for 10 years. And it's just and that's just the mindset I'm trying to get you with fitness. I know that was a long ass example that was drawn out, but if you really understand what I'm trying to say in this video, with this example, with this book, you will outshine everybody. I think that's probably like the most important point. But it's because I've habitually trained my whole life and I just ate clean. And it sounds stupid, but this stuff is really important. Once you focus on just changing the composition of what you eat, instead of focusing on how much you eat, and training so as to change the composition of what your body is made of, rather than just the weight of your body, you will become leaner, you will become stronger. And the second thing, and the third, and the last thing is optimize your carbs. And the reason I put this as the last thing, this stuff isn't in order in terms of chronologically, it's just in order in terms of importance to me. And what it really means is because I didn't do this, but I still built lean mass because, I followed these 2 steps and I still look pretty aesthetic. But what really got me strong and big as fuck, what really got me like actually freaking like insane, where like a chick will literally try and like take my arm off my body at the club, is me optimizing my carbs. And that's when I started eating carbs right like an hour and a half or to an hour before the gym, and I'll optimize my carbs. And I say I ate clean, but it can really be 80-20. If you eat 80% clean and 20% kind of dirty, and you're really mindful about what dirty food you eat, you will actually be okay. You will be okay. I simply just don't fucking like eating dirty, and I'll eat one dirty thing. And that dirty thing that I eat is before the gym. If you get something that's like carb loaded and sugary before the gym, like an hour before, your strength will explode. Your strength will explode. And what I eat is Pop-Tarts. Yes, I got some banana nut Pop-Tarts in that goddamn cabinet in my kitchen right now. And I eat 1 pack of Pop-Tarts, 400 calories, an hour before the gym, on top of all the meals that I eat throughout the day that are nothing but clean meals, nothing but just pure clean whole foods that I either cook or I get from my Factor subscription. This helps me because it's just an extra boost. It's just chaff in a furnace. You want to it's like you have a flame, like a campfire, and you just throw a bunch of like leaves in that bit just to increase the flame. That flame is like your power. That flame is your power on top of creatine, but we're not talking about supplements. That extra boost has got me so much stronger. I can't even explain to you how like I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. I went from being lean, following these 2 steps, and being stuck at only being able to hit 225 on bench for like 4 reps on a good day, maybe like 5 reps on a good day. Being able to only do 95 pounds on the dumbbell press, maybe like at one point it was just 80 pounds on the dumbbell press. Once I started eating kind of like a little bit shitty, just a little bit like shit, an hour and a half before the gym, dog, like I'm telling you right now, I got 130 pound dumbbells the other day and I threw that bitch up for 5 reps. And people were staring at me because they see me. They're like, this guy's pretty lean, but he's throwing this shit up. Imagine like your girlfriend's like, what, 130, 45 pounds, bro? I one arm that, bro, like I could just like imagine like my future girl, like she's like 130 pounds, bro, and she sees me pick up her body weight in both arms and I just press that joint. But like, and that's just the power of carbs. That's just the power of carbs. Like I'm not telling you to get rid of carbs. I'm not telling you to get rid of all sugars. I'm just saying time it. reduce it. And when you do eat it, time it at the right time. Eat it before your workout. Time your carbs around, gym time. And it's going to give you that extra boost. Because now, even if I'm in a calorically deficient day, guess what? I can still throw up that exact same weight. The weight that I needed to get in a caloric boost through my carbs, a glucose boost with my carbs, the weight that I needed to eat like that before the gym to do, I can now do that on default. That's the power of building lean mass. But you're not going to get that unless you follow these 2 steps. You're not going to get that unless you train and you repair all that muscle with the surplus of protein. So that's pretty much it. Lean maxing, bro. That's really how you lean max. Just a no bullshit, real guide. This is a very long video. There's a lot of information on this, but most of that stuff, that's why I made a course. It's on my course, top link in the description if you're interested. But that's really all I can get in this video. I don't want to drag it on too long. So if you're interested in this topic or you want to learn more, go ahead and click on this video. And goodbye.